And Dr. Seale, thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you so much, and good evening, everybody, and good to see you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, what is the book about? What inspired the book? Just give us a brief.
Yeah, firstly, just to say that when the likes of, and I'm reminded of this now, the likes of Zwelinzi Mavavi and Blade Zimande sing about the son and the daughters of farm workers and domestic workers. So I feel almost as if they're referring to me, because I grew up on this farm in Limpopo, in the area of Zaning, Mujajis Kloof.
Yes.
Many of you will know about the rainmaking queen. I don't know about those rainmaking prowess, but that it is about. So on this small farm there in Limpopo, and so this land was dispossessed from our great parents, and then so we were forced off this land and went to the villages, grew up there, and then over time, as I was growing up, and then through my schooling years and varsity, whenever there were gatherings and ceremonies in the family, people always reminisce about the stories, the experiences on the farm. Then I said, no. So I've got to do something and then make sure that the land is returned. And so we claimed the land way back in 1998, before the 31st December cutoff date. And then the land claim was declared valid, and that we had a prima facie case. And more than 25 years since then, the land has not been returned. Now, as one of the few members in the community that have been to school up to university level, I felt that I had the responsibility and the obligation to see to it that the land is returned. And so we fought, and then ultimately I decided that I was going to write this book. Perhaps through the book, that message could be impactful. The high echelons of power could hear the message. So, and this is the book that details all of that. And when I wrote this book, I mean, in recent years, there's been a proliferation of books. A lot of people have written books, including journalists, and of course I'm one. But then I thought about it. I said, when I decide to write a book, I don't just want to saturate the space and the market. I needed a book that is impactful. And so I'm happy that since its release just over 3 weeks ago, when this book was published, it's now a top seller.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yes, it is a top seller. Somebody sent me pictures from Cape Town International Airport, domestic departures. It was number 3 on the top selling list. And then this morning, somebody shared pictures from OR Tambo domestic departures. And then it's the top seller shelf. They put about 20 copies there, and then 20 books. And then this one was number 7. So the top 10 there. So, yeah.
Okay. So 100 years of dispossession.
Yes, 100 years of dispossession. I think that is a relevant title for the book. Actually, this book was developed out of my MA thesis at West University. West University has what is called, as part of the media and journalism course, what is called non-fiction long-form narrative writing. So there they help you shape up and structure, your thesis. And then so I chose this project that it was going to be part of my MA thesis. Then after submitting the MA thesis, then I developed the MA thesis into this book. So I expanded on that. And so 100 years of dispossession, I think it's a very relevant and apt title, because our land was dispossessed in the mid-1920s. And when you look at where we are today, it's just about 100 years. So it's that kind of symbolism around 100 years of dispossession because of no progress and all of it. But also my family's quest to reclaim our land.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Lebogang Seale, are you, because I see there's Alfie here from Chiefs, any relations to Rudolf Gardner Seale?
Well, I'm glad you're asking that question.
Yeah.
In fact, when we started, I wanted to ask you if you are a Kaizer Chiefs fan, because otherwise we might not have ended up not doing this interview. But I'm pleased that you sound like one. Of course. For life. All right. So, Rudolf Seale, indeed, and it was a great honor to see one of our own donning the famous colors of Kaizer Chiefs. He's a cousin. In the book, I have a family tree, and then you will clearly see that his father is also featured a family tree. So he's a cousin of ours with roots from Limpopo, and then until he stays in Soweto. So he attends most of the ceremonies at home. He does travel to Limpopo, whether it's funerals, parties, so he's integral to the family, and we are happy that he represented us at that level.
Yes, because I'll tell you more.
Because I'm telling more young friends. The one thing about Kaizer Chiefs, we lose, we may not have won the league, but tomorrow you will see Kaizer Chiefs fans donning the colors in the streets, whether we lose. Yeah.
So, you were saying that you're not an entrepreneur, so you don't have blunders business-wise, but you have blunders in another area of your life. Do you mind sharing that? Because I see Alfie is already coming closer to me now.
Well, I think I grew up at the height of apartheid. When Bantu education was the big thing in the 80s, when you went to school and then all of those things. So at the time in Limpopo, and then you can imagine the conditions, the schools there, and all of that. So at the time, and I think this is a very common story to everybody. The only available profession you can dream of was to be a teacher, to be a policeman or a policewoman, and then also a nurse, and then so we grew up, wanting to emulate these teachers and the nurses and the policemen. So, and then I became a teacher. I went to the then University of the North, which is now University of Limpopo. But when I went there, then something triggered me. I had to register for a B.Ed degree, which is 4 years, straight into teaching. Okay, nowhere else, there's no route. Okay, so after first year, then I realized that I'm not sure about this thing. Then I changed the qualification from B.Ed, and then I studied B.A. because I felt I didn't want to restrict myself, and then I wanted something with a B.A. At a later stage, I can shape it, to my desires in terms of future career. So then I passed this B.A. Then I said, no. I don't want to be a teacher. Then I came to JPEG. I wanted to be a journalist with a B.A. Then I went around knocking on door. The Star I did there, but they said, okay, come next year and all of that. Then the conditions at home were quite pressing and urgent because of the family situation, the poverty, and the deprivation. So I needed to say, ultimately, because of the conditions at home, I ended up going back to university, and I did a 1 year postgraduate qualification in teaching. Then I went into teaching, taught for some years, fell in love with the profession, loved the kids. There is something fundamentally gratifying about seeing these young children who are so brilliant and eager to learn. When you go to class, it's almost like you have an appointment with them. You have a date with them. You don't want to disappoint them. You go really prepared. And then I was highly motivated. But over time, then you look at the conditions, the people that you work with, some of them are not that serious. They come to school late. When they are there, they go to class late, or they don't go at all. and then some of them come to school drunk, and then now the community, even if you respect it, but generally people tend to paint the profession with the same brush, and then you are just lumped together, as people who are hopeless. I mean, school starts around 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, 2:30 3 in the rural areas, school out. What most of the teachers, what do? They have nothing to do. They go to the local pubs, and then they just so, and then over time, even children start losing respect of teachers. And I said, no. So, okay, you know what? This is not for me. And to make matters worse is that even the department itself doesn't respect teachers. There are problems at the school. The second manager, you want answers from the principal. The principal is hopeless and helpless. The second manager comes, you want answers. He is equally hopeless and helpless. And then you don't have access to those in power, whether at the provincial level or regional. So what do? I said, you know what? I'm out of this. This is not for me. So
what happened?
Yes.
What one incident that said to you, this is it, like, I'm out? Was there one particular, I mean, I understand that it was a build-up, right? But was there like that one incident when you got home was like, this is it?
Well, I think there was a combination of factors, but I think if I had to cite one or two, I think sometimes, the constant changes in the curriculum, the uncertainties around that. I mean, there was a talk of outcome-based education at the time, and then all the workshops that you constantly have to attend, but even the people who are supposed to or meant to train you don't seem to understand that. And then also in terms of you are leading this task team to implement that curriculum. But then there's no consistency. While you're still doing that, tomorrow is something else and all of that. So you don't know whether you're going or coming. Yeah. And at the same time, there are children who want to be taught. And then so there's that sense of confusion and uncertainty around the system that just leaves you despondent. Yeah. And then you don't want to be. And the one thing that I didn't want to is to become so despondent and disillusioned as to start disappointing on letting down the children because of my own unhappiness. Then I don't want to punish the children because they are innocent souls. So I rather leave the system. And that's what I did.
So last question, what lessons, I mean, you've been through this, they say, I was saying to someone that in a lifetime they say you need to reinvent yourself 3 times. And someone said, no, actually with technology, you can reinvent yourself 5 times.
Yeah.
So you are what, in your second reinvention or third reinvention? What lessons or advice can you give someone who's looking at, I want to go into this career option, because there's a work or it pays well? What advice would you give the kids that you were teaching?
Yeah.
They were to ask
Before that, perhaps I just want to highlight something, because after I quit teaching, then I went straight to varsity. I went to Rhodes, sat behind the desk and did a qualification and honors in journalism. And then I went into journalism because I was kind of a latecomer in the profession, you will understand that. So, but I quickly made my way through the ranks. And then until I was occupying those senior roles. And then over time, then journalism became something else. And then problems began. And then although I loved the profession, but there were serious problems that were impediments.
Is it brown envelopes? Or? Not that.
Yeah, you have started now. Not actually brown envelopes, but I think many of my colleagues who are here who are in the profession will understand issues around newsroom overreach, editorial independence, the whole issues around media ownership and its impact on news production. And then when you begin, journalism is almost like a calling as well as a profession, because there's certain strict ethical issues that you need to work. to stick to. So then that is why now I felt that this was this was no longer working for me. And then when you look at the media in general, beyond the company that I worked for, but there were also problems elsewhere. Then I quit, because you know what? There is something important about you as a person that you need to preserve, and that is your professional integrity and your personal integrity. You can't compromise that. It's not something like it's a commodity that you cannot go around trading in suitcase. Your professional integrity and personal integrity. And for those reasons, then I left the profession.
So you've left teaching, you've left journalism. Where are you now?
Okay. So now I'm at the University of Johannesburg, where I'm heading
academia now.
All right. Okay. I see. Where are you going? All right. So I'm there. I'm heading. There is a division there called strategic communications. So I'm heading that, but at the same time I'm a scholar, because I'm in my advanced stages of my PhD, and then also already there's a push for me to venture into academia. Yes.
Nice.
Thank you.
Is this it? Is this like you're not going to move out of this profession into something else? Sports, soccer. This is it.
Yeah. Funny enough, I mean, when I was still back in, I used to be a coach.
Okay.
And this team that I used to coach got promoted.
So
into some of the leagues. So football is part of my DNA.
Yeah.
I'm so passionate about football, and I wish I had been a coach. And I think I would have done better if I had been a coach.
You're going to retire there?
I think I would have been a good coach. I believe so, and because I think I understand and I read the game very well, and. When I see at what is happening at my team, I speak to Vina all the time. And what is it that they can't even retain possession and string together, even 3-4 passes? What? This is not the class of Chiefs that I know.
Yeah. I think vets must prepare themselves for you leaving at some point. Thank you so much. Let's give him a round of applause, guys.